Rick, I'm so glad that you're back in the studio with us. How are you?
Better than I deserve. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you played that song on our airwaves last year. You were working on this new EP that recently released. What's that like? And seeing all your hard work with these great original songs pay off in the form of an album.
It's fulfilling. You know, I think it was a long time coming. You know, a lot of the songs I'd had for a while, but life happens and you procrastinate, and but it's done and it's an accomplishment. I'm proud of it, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Especially that it's all done in Dayton too.
Oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Where'd you record it?
Dayton Sound Studios, with Gary King, and all the musicians that are on the album are from Dayton. The guys that play in my band, and then we had a few session players come in too. Adam West plays harmonica, and a couple guys from a local bluegrass band called Shady Pine. They came out and played with me too, because I ain't good enough to play anything close to bluegrass. Yeah.
That's different than your first single, which was your version of Waylon's Drinking and Dreaming that you recorded in Nashville. What, Dean Miller produced that? You had Melanie Cannon on it. So yeah. Why the drive to record it in Dayton and kind of have that Dayton local vibe on it?
Because I live in Dayton. We're in Dayton. And it was a good experience recording that song in Nashville. I think it was more for a single that was a cover, but to be more original and kind of find my own sound, it just made the most sense to do it here with people I know, producing everything on my own. When it comes to originals, just kind of seemed to line up that way.
The vibe of the album, we were chatting about it off air, it has some unique textures and tones on it. So why don't you tell us about your overall vision for the project when it came to the instrumentation and the balance that you were looking to strike that I do think you achieved?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. We were saying that, a lot of my influences tend to be the outlaw guys.
Yeah.
Waylon and Merle and newer folks like WEDI Morgan, Kendall Marvel. Not a ton of that influence, I think, comes through in some of the songs. Everything that I've written, is about personal experience for the most part. I'm not an outlaw. I think maybe I'm too nice, but don't drink enough. Maybe you do. I don't know. But each of those songs, I think they kind of have their own moods, and we incorporated the kind of instruments that I think exemplify those moods of the songs. And while it's not maybe strictly outlaw or folk or Americana or just about anything, I think once we put it all together, it still had an original sound to it. But yeah, it went well, and not all of it's just about me. Some of it has some poetic license, as Waylon would say. that means you make some of it up.
You mentioned finding that original sound, and why do you think that's important for you as an independent artist to not kind of pigeonhole yourself or paint yourself into a corner as just an outlaw artist or just this or just that, but kind of work in a lot of those different elements that you enjoy into a sound that's unique and all your own?
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's intentional, really. I think more than anything, anybody that's an independent artist or musician, more specifically, if you're just being yourself, then that's what's most important. I think you're going to get the most fulfillment from that if you're in it for the right reasons. Not to say what's right and what's wrong, but I found if you're just doing what you enjoy, what's important to you, that's how you're going to feel the most fulfilled with whatever you release.
You've maintained a busy performance schedule in the Miami Valley. You got quite a few Ohio appearances coming up all over the region in the spring and summer. For folks that maybe have this idea that to scratch their musical itch, that they have to move to Nashville and they have to do this, and we can't sleep on our own bed, and that's kind of all the list of negatives or all the reasons to not try to chase their dream of making music. What do you have to say to that? Because clearly you're making it work right here in the Miami Valley.
With God's grace, that's a really good question, and I think about that a lot. I know guys that live in Nashville and they do that down there, and they like it and it works for them. It's just not for me. I like being at home. I would never do a ton of touring as a musician. I like being here with my kids and my wife and my family. But with the internet and Spotify and whatnot else, you can get your music out there. It probably helps to be down there and make connections and everything, but I'm happy doing it my own way.
and to find a steady stream of dates to be able to play here in the Miami Valley, and be able to sleep in your own bed, even comparing that to someone that maybe wants to pound those bars on Broadway and work in those honky tonks for 6 hours straight for no pay every day. The alternative that you have found is a whole lot easier, right?
Yeah, I don't have to play Redneck Woman quite as much. doing your own thing up here. The flip side is you get to play old Lefty Frizzell songs for people who've never heard it before, But yeah, it's good. It's going well, and I'm happy, doing it my way. And so far, so good. Long way to go. We were saying too, I'm still trying to figure out most of it as an independent artist. What works, what doesn't, what you should do on your own, what you should get somebody else to try and do for you. But it's the journey. I don't have an end goal in sight. I think I've kind of figured out, or at least for me, it's more about the journey than it is the ending. So I'm just enjoying all of it.
You mentioned your family, and what sort of inspiration does your family and your wife and your kids have on inspiring you with some of your songwriting?
Probably most of it. I'm Christian first and foremost, but I'm a husband and a father, and then I'm an independent country musician. So, a lot of just day-to-day life, I think comes through in a lot of the songs. The good and the challenging, not the bad. None of it's bad, if you know what I mean. But, I'd say most of it does in one way or another.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll play one of those songs that hits close to home here in a little bit, but we're talking about your area performances. We've been excited to spread the word about the PBR Professional Bull Riding Velocity Tour coming to the Nutter Center this weekend. We've been giving out tickets for the Friday event all week long. I think we still have another pair to pass out later on our broadcast day. But you're performing for a kickoff event for that, right?
Yeah. The guys over at Wandering Griffin Brewery gave me a call and they said, "Hey, the rodeo's in town. We need some country music." I said, "Okay." And so I'll be there Saturday from 4 to 7, Wandering Griffin Brewery. So if you're in town for the bull riding, come over. They got good beer and good food, and I'll do my best to play some good music.
So that's the Wandering Griffin. So if you're going to the rodeo tomorrow night by the Nutter Center, stop by and have a little pregame music, kind of get you in the mood at Wandering Griffin with the Rick George Band. What's it like for you to balance playing solo and then doing the Rick George Band as well? Because what sort of differences will people see when they see on your tour schedule that it's with the band or just you on your own like you'll be today in the studio? What can folks expect?
It's well, I mean, kind of the same thing. We do as many full band shows as we can. I love playing with the guys in my band. Occasionally, if it's a smaller venue, acoustic might be more appropriate, but you'll still hear the same old country songs from the 70s and 80s and 90s. Probably nothing past the 90s. But if it's an acoustic show, you might hear some other stuff too, like some 90s or some Sublime, something like that.
Tell folks where they can find your new album and how they can learn more about you, your tour schedule, and your music.
Sure. Everything's at rickgeorgemusic.com. All the show dates are on there. Electronic press kits, booking information. No, I'm just kidding. But everything's there. But we got Instagram, Facebook. I don't have TikTok. I don't know how to do that one, as I always say. But yeah, and as far as the album goes, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you got, it'll be on there. I appreciate you guys listening.
Wherever you enjoy digital music, be sure to check out the new self-titled EP from Rick George. Head to rickgeorgemusic.com, see where it's playing here in the Miami Valley, and if you have a special event that needs some great country music, Rick George is the man. So glad he's going to perform for us here in just a little bit. Tell us about the song Homestead from the new album.
Homestead, talking about influence of family on the writing process, that song kind of sums it up. Being, younger or maybe newly married, talking about settling down and what comes next. Not that having a family, really settles you down, not in the wild sense, but it's more of an adventure. It's a new adventure, and I think that's what it's about.
Hi, thanks for watching. If you liked our video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and hit subscribe so you'll be notified when we have new videos posting. Be sure to check out some of our other content as well. Thanks for watching.